Welcome back this morning. We are going to have a pretty heavy conversation, but it's a topic that we cannot ignore. And the statistics are just shocking. 1 in every 3 girls will be a victim of sexual abuse by the age of 18. And for boys, it's 1 in every 5. My next guest this morning is all too familiar with this topic. Christy Heiskala is a child sexual abuse prevention expert, and she is here with what every single one of you needs to know. Christy, first of all, thank you for your time this morning. You unfortunately became all too familiar with this topic when it happened to your own child.
Yes, thank you for having me, Heather. Approximately 10 years ago, my daughter was molested by her 3rd grade teacher, and there were many points of intervention that could have happened had the school been trained. I had trained her from a very young age to speak up if this had happened to her, if she's touched inappropriately by anybody, and so she did exactly that. She spoke up immediately, came home and told me.
And came home and told you because you gave her tools in her toolbox so she would know what to do if it happened to her. What did you tell her from a very young age?
So from a very young age, I just said that nobody was allowed to touch her if it didn't feel right to her, and if it made her uncomfortable, and that included myself, her dad, her family, her teachers, anybody. The rules applied to every single person.
But when perpetrators select victims, they tell them things to prevent them from reporting what's going on. They threaten them, especially small children. They can be very intimidated. How did you work her through that?
Sure. So I just reinforced that these boundaries apply to everybody, no matter what they say to you. Always refer back to me. If you have a question, ask me. Never keep a secret if somebody asks you to keep a secret. And just know that I'm always going to believe you, and I'm going to protect you, and it doesn't matter who it is.
When we look at the statistics here, 1 in every 3, this is just shocking, these numbers here. And unfortunately, most of the victims know they're the park in most cases out there. What should parents know? What are the warning signs? Like, how can you start educating people this morning on our show?
Sure. So the number one thing you can teach your kids from a very young age that'll help them in every area of their life is to trust their gut. They need to know what that feels like, what those gut instincts are. Your body is designed to warn you of danger. And so the number one thing parents can teach their kids is how to trust their gut and to act on it, remove themselves from the situation. The number 2 thing is consent, and that children are in charge of their own bodies. And you can teach them this in everyday occurrences, like just allowing them to pick out their own clothes and their own hairstyles, and then into bigger things like not forcing them to hug or kiss anybody, especially relatives. Sometimes we say, you know, go give grandpa a hug, go give grandpa a kiss. We don't want to do that. We want them to know they're in charge of their bodies, and they get to decide who they're going to hug and kiss, and vice versa. They need to ask other people before hugging or kissing. May I give you a hug?
What are the warning signs that this might be happening to your child? What are a few things parents need to look out for?
If they become suddenly withdrawn, if they don't want to go somewhere they've always wanted to go, if they were doing well in school and suddenly they're not doing well in school, if there's any bedwetting or any kind of physical problems that come up, those are clear indicators.
Clear indicators, okay. Christy, I know that you hold workshops and you educate people all the time on the warning signs and what to look out for. And of course, we throw social media into the mix, and then this problem becomes much, much more complicated. So child sex abuse training, prevention training, I should say, it's Saturday at 10 o'clock. This is the Enrich Co-working Community. There's the address right there on the screen. The best thing you can do is go to her website, educate2eliminate.com. This is not the only workshop that she is holding. She does these on a regular basis. It is so important that we educate parents, and for that matter, grandparents and everybody out there, on the warning signs and what we can do as a community to stop this.
Exactly.
All right, Christy, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Michelle.